All right, today we're going to have a little esoteric martial arts discussion. The reason why we're going to do this is because in the fate of my life, I have had this conversation like 4 or 5 times with people in the last couple of months. And my life has kind of had some of these weird patterns that are repeating, almost like I need to learn this lesson. So hopefully, if I talk a little bit about the esoteric side of martial arts, it'll help me figure out whatever it is that I need to figure out. Okay? So the first thing is, one of the things that martial artists have in common with yogis is that water reacts differently when they're around. Because the practice, the sadhana, the discipline it takes to become a high level martial artist is also the same or similar the physical disciplines and exercises you got to do to be a yogi. In order to be a martial artist, you have to master your mind, jaya. You have to master your body, jaya. To master your enemy, to master the universe, to master anything else external to you, vijaya. Jaya, vijaya. And it's the same thing that a yogi has to do. A yogi also was birthed out of the same experience that a martial artist was birthed out of. And here's what I mean. So, Shiva, Lord Shiva, the god Shiva, as Adiyogi, in the form of Adiyogi, was a humanoid, whether he was an alien, whether he was a demigod, whether he was a person from a different dimension, whether he was just a normal human being. You can go and figure that out however you want to. You can make whatever judgment you want to. Doesn't change what happened on that mountain. Okay? And what I mean by that is he transcended. He transcended to a point where the I and I, the Rastafarian philosophy or the Rastafarian theory of I and I, the little I, you're the little embodiment of the greater God, right? I and I. Well, the line between little I and big I was gone. He had transcended to where he was just his godly form. His aura took a machine gun blue color. And that's why Hindu gods are painted with the machine gun blue color. It's because that depicts the aura that somebody has when they have transcended. Now, if you have a white aura, that just means you're a sagely person where you can go into that godly state. But that godly state is hard. It's hard to be physical and be in that state. Right? So a lot of those sages that have the white aura, their body starts to fail. But their magic is amazing. Whether or not you believe in the magic, whether you believe that's mythology or whether you believe in the historicity of it, that it is actually itihasa, straight up history, that's up to you, man. That's up to you. But this is how the legend goes. So Krishna, Shiva, those kind of people, Shiva is Adiyogi. The reason why I'm making this distinction is because whether or not you believe he is all God, whether or not you believe he is the emergence of several spiritual traditions and the conflation and amalgamation of those spiritual traditions, that is the tradition of Rudra and the tradition of Shiva as Adiyogi, whatever. I don't care. Go make whatever assumption you want to on whatever conjecture information that you have. I don't care. But he had a machine gun blue aura. So he could do his godly stuff at the same time as being physical. So, how did martial arts and how did yoga occur when Shiva transitioned? So at first he's Adiyogi. All right, let's get this clear. He's just this fucking whatever. And as he dances, he just starts to move. And as he dances, he starts to see the yoga, all of the physical that exists with the consciousness in the Shiva and the Shakti, the consciousness and the physicality. He sees that everything is this reverberation that comes from the source. He knows this. Now, if I'm telling the version of the story that you don't like, I'm sorry. I'm doing this to make a point. That the sound, once the sound waves reverberate, they collect, and this collection becomes solidity. And the point at which the consciousness and the solidity intermingle in this physical reality that we interact with, because we can only interact with the physicality that our senses perceive. That's why you have to heighten your senses to perceive a greater reality. Your consciousness can go to any reality. You see, you can become white before become machine gun blue. Tracking? All right. He sees all this. He sees how all of his chakras are points of connecting higher. And he emerges, he merges with himself. He becomes self-aware. So sometimes people say that he was always Rudra Shiva, he just danced and then became, or some people like to say he was just this humanoid thing that danced and threw some karate kicks up, and then all of a sudden he transcended and then connected with chicken or the egg, who cares? Whatever. So he dances and it gets more furious, you know. You dance. In that he sees all of yoga. And in that he sees all of martial arts. All right? He dances so furious that he finally becomes still. And he sits. He just sits down. He just sits the fuck down. Lots of people, who cares what the number is? A lot of people. Everybody in the world. Or not. Who cares? A lot of people are watching him. They're watching him. They've been watching him dance. He's been dancing for millennia. He's been dancing for a few ages. Whatever, it doesn't matter. He's been dancing a long time. And then he sits down. Then he fucking sits down for a long time. People are waiting for him to do these miracles, and he doesn't do shit. He just sits there, and every once in a while he has tears of ecstasy go down his face, and he just looks so happy, and his aura is so radiant. And they say that his body is resplendent. That's how beautiful his body looks. Resplendent. All right? Well, people start leaving. How many, at what rate? I don't know. I don't care. Go figure out a source. Whatever. They trickle away until finally there's 7 sages, 7 people, and at his feet. And as they were at his feet is the constellation, the Big Dipper. Or if you're in Bharat and you value Satana Dharma, or you're a Hindu kind of guy that would have shit like that tattooed, or shit like that tattooed, you call them the Saptarishis, the 7 sages, 7 immortals, 7 great beings, 7 higher learned ones. Pick one. Pick them all. I don't care. One of them was Jamaragni. Jamaragni. I forget what his name means. Great fire or something. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. He has a son who is an incarnation of Vishnu, named Ram. And Ram had an axe, the Parasur, or the Parashur, and he became Parasuram, or Parashuram, however you want to say it. And from that line, there was now a secret initiated martial arts. Parashuram taught martial arts to Karna, to Bhishma, to Drona Acharya, Drona. And from this school it trickled down and became an initiated form of martial arts that esoteric warriors used to protect esoteric information. What's that information? You are a living, breathing embodiment of God, and there's techniques known as yoga and known as martial arts to transcend and fully maximize your potential, and there's also mantras and whatever else. But in order to protect that and to protect holy places, they had to use their martial arts. Because that's a breathing exercise, right? It's martial arts. See how similar they are? Breathing exercise. Martial arts. Right? Similar. And so, in the reverberation, where the sound, Shakti, Nararup, Narayani, where Narayani and Nararup merge, there is Narayan, the master of water, the consciousness in water. If you take water, you could boil it, kill all the bacteria in it. You can lock it up in a vial. You leave it there long enough, there's going to be bacteria that grows. You cannot kill life with water. You can pollute water. After a period of time, it will be the world's greatest solvent over a period of time. It will mix with the ether and the earth, and there will be a life that will grow out of it. Doesn't matter what you do. Water in Hiroshima right now, water in Nagasaki right now is still forming with consciousness and light and creating bacteria. Or through light, the absence of light, creating another type of bacteria. There's only life. And water in this universe is the key to life. When light hits water, one form of life. When water acts independently separate from light, another form of life. When they mix again, life, 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 life. You bury water, life. You pull water out of the ground, life. You put water in a pool, gets oxygenated, life. We're comprised up of 80%. I'm going to stop kicking the dead horse here, right? So, as a martial artist, what's the greatest tool you have? Mastery of water. So Bruce Lee said, man, be like water. What does it really mean? What does it really mean? What's the purpose? What is the purpose of yoga? The purpose of yoga is so that you can meditate better. You're strong. All of your chakras are aligned. Your energy is going the right way. It makes transcending through meditation, the ecstasy of meditation, easier. You know, the Shaolin monks, when the sages had traveled, they got to China. They were teaching people first. They were teaching the yoga. Well, the Chinese, the Chinese that were there trying to learn from these sages, the Bodhisattva, the Bodhidharma, the various other sages, they couldn't sit, their backs hurt. They couldn't meditate. So they taught them the martial arts exercises so that they could get to the postures better, so that their backs could be strong and they could meditate. Then, now once they've transcended and they have sacred knowledge, they have sacred sites, they have sacred places, they need to protect it. Well, we got to go back to the martial arts now, don't we? All right? So, what does this mean? It means that yoga and martial arts, same thing. Two sides of the same coin, man. So, the yoga is for you. The martial arts is to protect you. Right? So, think of it like a nut. The inside is the nut and the outside is the shell. Right? This universe is supposed to be in a hard casing like a coconut. Half of it's filled with water. The other half is filled with ether. Who knows? Who knows? They say they know, but I don't know if they know. So, some Christians like to call it the firmament above and the firmament below. Cool. You can use those words. I'm going to go to the Bhagavatam where it's explicitly stated in no uncertain terms, and it hasn't been translated from several different languages. And it wasn't written and rewritten with several underlying manipulative purposes. And it could be arguably malicious purposes. There could be embedded mysticism. I don't know, who cares? They can have that. That's theirs. God bless them. I hope it gives them peace and joy, and they reach the enlightenment and go to Krishna Lok and Goloka Vrindavan, whatever. But in the Bhagavatam, it says everything perfectly from Krishna's mouth, who is another yogi martial artist. The Narayani Sena, the great army of Krishna, couldn't kill an unarmed Krishna. He got shot in the head during the war. He just pulled it out and looked disgusted. And kept driving the chariot. Because to him, all this was worth it to be able to sing the Bhagavad Gita and whatever. He knows his purposes. I don't know his purposes. And he's the supreme personality of God or Godhead. Right? But what is his mystic name? Keshava. What is his other mystic name? Narayan. Nara, sound. Sound and water. Narayan. He is the master of sound and water. Sound is what reality is. We perceive all this stuff because we're bound to our senses. Once you go to a higher level, it's like Matrix 3. You're in and out of Matrix. And that's why yogis have all this magical power. All right. So, again, I don't even know exactly what I was saying, but there's a little esoteric rant about martial arts. If you want to know the best things to eat for martial arts, it's the thing that give you light energy or earth energy so that you can get God energy, right? So photosynthetic plants, fruits, root vegetables, leafy greens. These are the greatest. Carbohydrates. Why? Because they give you water. They help you use water as energy. Hydrates. We call them carbo because they got a lot of carbon molecules. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Modern science does not. I don't care what's in fashion at the moment. I don't care what the next newest weight loss pill is. Because if you go back, the furthest back you go into history, the martial artists ate like the yogis. All right? People talk about jiu-jitsu and judo as the greatest and oldest. It's not. It's not. There are martial arts forms on the planet right now that are far superior. But they come from the same source, the traveling sages. They were traveling teaching the yoga, which were the methods developed by Adiyogi Shiva as he danced and transcended. They were teaching those methods, and to protect themselves, they used the other methods, the martial arts. Are we finally coming together? All right. I've blah, blah, blah as long as I want to blah, blah, blah. But there's my altar.